Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live in. Week one of the NFL season is over. If you were able to advance in your survivor pool, congratulations. I took the Ravens, easily handled the Texans, so I'm moving on to week two. Unfortunately, teams like the Vikings, who were one of the bigger favorites in week one, lost, as did the Seattle Seahawks to the Los Angeles Rams, Vikings to the Buccaneers. Maybe some people took the Chiefs over the Lions prior to knowing that Kelsey would be out, didn't make the change. So, some people probably got eliminated, but let's take a look at the week two schedule. And I'll admit, this is a challenging one for me to pick a team. I'll do the spreads for these games either later today or tomorrow. That's going to be challenging. I went 10-6 in week one. But let's take a look at the schedule and see who we might want to take. So the Thursday night game for week two, the Vikings at the Eagles. The Vikings, of course, were the biggest favorite to lose in week one. Meanwhile, Philadelphia hung on to beat New England. Offense didn't look super sharp in that second half. Minnesota definitely looking to rebound. 13 wins last season, starting off 0-1. Now the Sunday schedule: Green Bay at Atlanta, two teams starting 1-0. That probably still have a few people not believing in them. Jordan Love looked good in his first game as a full-time starter against the Bears. Meanwhile, Atlanta utilized the running game. Desmond Ritter threw very few passes to his wide receivers and tight ends, but it was enough to beat Carolina. Las Vegas at Buffalo. Man, is Buffalo going to look to rebound from that disappointing loss to the Jets even after Aaron Rodgers left the game? Four turnovers from Josh Allen proved to be costly. Meanwhile, Jimmy G, I mean, look at his winning percentage as a starter. Continued with a week one win over Denver. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Cincinnati arguably had the most disappointing week one. The offense was truly existent against Cleveland. We will see if Mark Andrews will be back for Lamar Jackson, who didn't necessarily look sharp in week one. But again, Baltimore easily took care of the Houston Texans. Seattle at Detroit. Seattle also one of the week one biggest disappointments, as they were taken care of by the Rams. Game wasn't very close. Detroit, of course, beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, without Chris Jones. Yes, without Travis Kelsey. Yes, the Chiefs wide receivers dropped so many passes, especially Kadarius Toney, but still a mighty impressive win. Chargers at Titans, both teams starting 0-1, losing close games. Chargers lost in an offensive shootout, and the Titans lost in a more defensive game. Bears at Buccaneers. Bears definitely looking to rebound after they were taken care of by the Green Bay Packers. Another game that really wasn't close. Justin Fields will look to play better, and as will the defense, who really let Jordan Love throw all over them, even without Christian Watson. Again, Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield didn't have the greatest game, but he came through when it was needed to give Tampa Bay the 1-0 start. We heard that Chris Jones has signed for this season, so in all likelihood he will be playing in this game at Jacksonville, but still a very hard game to touch. Indianapolis at Houston. Before this season, I picked these two teams to be the two bottom teams in the AFC. How can you touch this game? San Fran at Los Angeles. You would think San Fran would be a good choice, especially with Cooper Kupp out, except Matthew Stafford looked healthy in that week one game against Seattle. The defense played pretty well. Again, a lot of not much experience on the defense other than Aaron Donald. Of course, did bring back John Johnson. But Rams look good in week one, makes it tough to take the Giants at the Cardinals. Man, I'm a Giants fan. Still trying to get over that week one disaster. Meanwhile, Arizona held tight with Washington. A game that was definitely in question throughout. Part of me as a Giants fan is saying, there's no way they're going to lose this game. Um, but I'm wondering if it's my heart making that pick instead of my brain. I'll give my pick at the end, though. Jets at Cowboys, of course, the extremely terrible news about Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure it'll be announced probably today that he is likely out for this season. Enter Zach Wilson, but the defense did enough, again forcing four Josh Allen turnovers to give the Jets a 1-0 start with a punt return touchdown in overtime. Cowboys just dominated the Giants in every single aspect. They're definitely a team to fear. Commanders at Broncos. Commanders had a tough time with the Arizona Cardinals. Broncos, you look at Russell Wilson's completion percentage, you might say, okay, he had a good game, except there was a lot of dinking and dumping. You look at his yards per attempt, wasn't good at all, and the Broncos only scored 16 points, something they did frequently around that point total last season. Dolphins at Patriots. The Patriots defense looked very good throughout much of that game against the Eagles, facing another high-powered offense in the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill going for over 200 yards in week one. Then we got two Monday night games, starting with the Saints at the Panthers. Saints had a tough game with the Titans, but prevailed. Defense looked very good. Bryce Young definitely had some first game jitters through a couple interceptions. And Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, we heard all preseason how their offense was gelling, but I never take much into preseason. Actually, I picked three AFC North teams to make the playoffs. Pittsburgh was the only one I didn't. Cleveland, on the other hand, of course, had a very impressive game against the Cincinnati Bengals. And Deshaun Watson didn't play bad, but he could definitely play better. So we'll see. It's been really a while since we've seen vintage Deshaun Watson. Will it come this season? So, if we look at DraftKings Sportsbook, the biggest favorites in week two are the Buffalo Bills are the biggest favorite at 8.5. People don't expect them to fall to 0-2. The San Francisco 49ers favored by 8 on the road against the Rams. That really surprised me. The Cowboys favored by 7.5 at home against the Jets. And the other 7-point favorite is the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football, favorite by 7 against the Minnesota Vikings. After that, it looks like the biggest spread is, yes, 5.5. The Lions are favored by 5.5 at home against the Seahawks. Again, it's a tough week to navigate. As I said, the biggest favorite is the Buffalo Bills. But as I mentioned, Garoppolo's winning percentage as a starter is awesome. Um, I'm actually going to go with the Dallas Cowboys, and this makes a Giants fan picking it after seeing what they did in week one. And it is risky. This is a tough week to navigate. The Jets defense looked very good in week one. We heard DJ Reed comparing it to the Legion of Boom and the 85 Bears. But I just think the Cowboys pass rush will definitely give Zach Wilson a lot of problems, and the offense will do enough. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. I definitely would understand if you were to take the Bills. I just can't see them falling to 0-2. I can't see the Giants losing to the Cardinals. But again, I'm wondering if my heart's making that pick, whether rather than my brain. We also have to see if Andrew Thomas will be ready to play in that week two game. But let me know in the comments, who are you looking to take in week two Survivor? Again, congratulations if you made it past week 1. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.